Like and subscribe and click the bell icon to get new video updates.
Ukraine latest, Russia claims destruction of armored vehicle plant near Kyiv, warns US of consequences for helping Ukraine. Explosions have sounded in Kyiv and the western city of Lviv, and the mayor of the Ukrainian capital said rescuers and medics were working at the site of a blast on the outskirts of the city. Following attacks in the capital, Mayor Vitaly Klitschko urged Ukrainians not to return to Kyiv just yet in televised remarks on Saturday, warning that strikes will likely continue. "We're not ruling out further strikes on the capital," Mr. Klitschko said. "If you have the opportunity to stay a little bit longer in the cities where it is safer, do it." Russian media quoted its defense ministry as saying Russia had destroyed production buildings of an armored vehicle plant in Kyiv and a military repair facility in the southern city of Mykolaiv. The strikes were carried out by high-precision, long-range weapons, it said. Ukrainian officials said at least 2 civilians were killed and 18 wounded in Russian attacks across the country. A diplomatic note revealed by U.S. media warned Western powers of unpredictable consequences if they supplied Ukraine with advanced weaponry. Ukraine Deputy Prime Minister Irina Vereshchuk said 9 humanitarian corridors had been agreed for Saturday, local time, to evacuate civilians, including from the besieged city of Mariupol by private cars. Russia has denied targeting civilians since it invaded Ukraine on February 24 and has said Ukrainian and Western allegations of war crimes are fabricated. Russia warns US, NATO against provision of arms to Ukraine. Russia has formally complained to the United States over its military aid to Ukraine, warning of unpredictable consequences if shipments of advanced weaponry go forward, US media reported. Space to play or pause, M to mute, left and right arrows to seek, up and down arrows for volume. In a diplomatic note this week, Moscow warned the United States and NATO against sending the most sensitive weapons for Kyiv to use in the conflict with Russia, saying such shipments were adding fuel to the situation and could come with unpredictable consequences, The Washington Post reported. The warning came the same week that U.S. President Joe Biden pledged a new $800 million $1 billion, military aid package for Ukraine, including helicopters, howitzers and armored personnel carriers. The U.S. State Department declined to comment on reports of the formal note. "We won't confirm any private diplomatic correspondence," a spokesperson said. "What we can confirm is that, along with allies and partners, we are providing Ukraine with billions of dollars worth of security assistance, which our Ukrainian partners are using to extraordinary effect to defend their country against Russia's unprovoked aggression and horrific acts of violence." Read more. CNN also reported that one source familiar with the document said the complaint could mean Moscow is getting ready to adopt a more aggressive stance against the US and NATO as the invasion of Ukraine continues. Mr. Biden told his Ukrainian counterpart Volodymyr Zelensky of the new weapons aid package over the phone Wednesday, as Russia refocused its efforts eastward, the new front line of the 7-week-old war. As Russia prepares to intensify its attack in the Donbas region, the United States will continue to provide Ukraine with the capabilities to defend itself, Mr. Biden said. This new package of assistance will contain many of the highly effective weapon systems we have already provided and new capabilities tailored to the wider assault we expect Russia to launch in eastern Ukraine. Mr. Zelensky tweeted that he and Mr. Biden had discussed the additional package of defensive and possible macro-financial aid. The new assistance included some of the heavier equipment that Washington had previously refused to provide to Kyiv for fear of escalating the conflict with nuclear-armed Russia. Reconciliation. The theme of Vatican Good Friday procession. The war in Ukraine loomed over the traditional Good Friday Colosseum procession in Rome, after the Vatican's choice of a Russian woman to share bearing the cross with a Ukrainian woman had angered Ukrainians. In an apparent attempt to defuse the objections, when the moment arrived for the 2 women, who worked together at a Rome hospital, to walk with the cross together, the ceremony's participants were invited to pause in prayerful silence, and pray for peace. The original script, written with the women's input, had spoken of prospects for reconciliation. That wording had sparked protests by both the Ukrainian ambassador to the Holy See and a Kyiv archbishop. They objected to projecting what they saw as the idea of reconciliation while Ukraine is ravaged by war unleashed by Russia. For the first time since before the pandemic, the solemn torchlit procession returned to the ancient arena in Rome. The women were identified only,